So this thing here, this is a bootlicker. And don't be like this, kids. Do not be a bootlicker. Because if you do, your breath will smell like shit and leather. And no one's gonna like you, except other bootlickers. This right here, this is a bootlicker. And he doesn't know it, but he definitely is a bootlicker. This is a bootlicker. Do not lick boots. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, this is the energized bootlicker. Notice how energized they are from licking. Shake your head if you're a bootlicker. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have the painfully unaware bootlicker. This is the type of bootlicker that will go around asking about what would you do if terrorists attacked our country. I don't know, bud. Probably what we're doing. Hopefully more. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of a smug-faced, bug-eyed bootlicker. This bootlicker is easily identified by the annoying audio playing while making a smug face and staring directly into the camera. What's funny about this bootlicker is they do not understand that a republic is just another form of democracy. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have a bit of a unique specimen here. It's a garden variety divorced dad bootlicker, but this one is, as you'll see, a naked lip bootlicker. And some people think that that is an aesthetic choice, but really it's just from licking so much boot. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have Tacticales Ballisterales. That is the tactical food blister. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of what will eventually become the divorced dad bootlicker. Right now, it is in its pupal or larval stage, and it is referred to as the confused bootlicker. This bootlicker is always confused about what is right and what is wrong, and what is fascist and what is democratic, and he will remain in a state of confusion up until he is divorced, at which point he will then hit his final form, the divorced dad bootlicker. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of the red-breasted jowler. It is identified by the red breast, predominantly displayed here, along with the pink jowls, as you can see here, covered in a thin layer of facial hair. Interesting thing about these bootlickers is when confronted with facts they don't understand, they will inflame these jowls as a defensive display. Today on Better Know Your Bootlicker, we have the North American Viacales obliviales. This is the most common bootlicker in North America. And this bootlicker likes to go into its vehicle and be completely oblivious as to the reality around them. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have the Bifurcales nostrales, also known as the split-nosed bootlicker. This bootlicker develops a split nose so as to better fit them up multiple asses at the same time. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of the Cranius maximus, also known as the broadhead bootlicker. And this bootlicker is easily identified by the massive forehead display. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have the Canadian bootlicker. This bootlicker is really special because it will migrate hundreds of miles just to lick boot. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of the bald-headed, red-bearded bootlicker. The interesting thing about these bootlickers is they are celibate for life, and that's not their decision. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have another example of the divorced dad naked lip bootlicker, but today we get to see them in their habitat, and what's really interesting about this is you will see the lack of females in this habitat. That is because these bootlickers have no bitches. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have a very good example of mimicry. So you can see here that this bootlicker mimics the thumb, the human thumb, with this very thumb-like appearance. And he does that so he can blend in with all of the other fucking idiots. Today on Get to Know Your Bootlicker, we have the Gen X bootlicker. This bootlicker is easily identifiable because it will identify itself for you. It will tell you that it's Gen X, and it will tell you how superior it is to all other generations, except this generation loves to lick boot. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of penialis minimalis, that is Latin for he with micropenis. Obviously, you would identify them using the micropenis. However, it's very hard to find, so just identify them by their love of licking boot. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have the wandering bootlicker. Now, this bootlicker looks and displays just like the North American divorced dad bootlicker. However, this bootlicker, as you'll see, has a dashboard indicating that this is some sort of recreational mobile home type vehicle, which means that this bootlicker will travel hundreds of miles across the nation just to lick boot. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have the Profundicus ignoramus, translated from Latin. That means the big idiot, more commonly referred to as the mag idiot. Now, you can identify this bootlicker by his incredibly stupid takes on taxation and the fact that he thinks a billionaire is going to give him money if he licks his boots. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we will be looking at the behaviors of bootlickers in the wild that have mated together. Here we have the red wine bootlicker has mated with the bald-headed divorced dad bootlicker. Now, the female red wine bootlicker will require a lot of wine in order to suffer through whatever stupid shit is coming out of the male bootlicker's mouth. Once they pair up and mate, the collective intelligence between these two bootlickers will just keep dropping, at which point it will hit a critical mass when it is dropped low enough. At that point, the female red wine bootlicker will no longer be able to tolerate the crap coming out of the bootlicker's mouth, and she will go find a fresh divorced dad bootlicker, one that will probably have more hair and a few more dollary dues to throw around. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of Porcus nudus, or the naked pig bootlicker. This bootlicker is, as you might suspect, easily identified from the naked body that it likes to present. Why, we don't know. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of the neck-bearded incel bootlicker. This bootlicker is most easily identified from its smell profile. It smells mostly of unwashed taint, shame, virginity, corn chips, and feet. However, identifying them by their smell can be very difficult since they never leave their basement. So what are some visual clues? Well, first and foremost, you have the neckbeard, predominantly displayed on this individual here. Now, if you can't see them and you want to identify them from their call, you just have to listen for complaints about comedy and how it's not funny, while also hearing "fuck your feelings" and "make comedy great again." Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of opticales separales. Translated from Latin, that means your eyeballs are too far apart. And these are easily identified by the incredible chasm between both of their eyeballs. Interesting fact, the separation between the orbital sockets is caused from all of the shit that gets pounded down into their brain from licking so much boot. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of the male smug-faced bug-eyed bootlicker. And just like the female smug-faced bug-eyed bootlicker, he has audio playing in the background as he looks into the camera and nods. Now, the funny thing about these bootlickers is they are easily manipulated. See, watch. Nod your head in agreement if you're a bootlicker. Yeah, easy. Today on Know Your Bootlicker, we have an example of one of the larval stages that will eventually grow into a divorced dad bootlicker. Now, whether it will be a bald-headed bootlicker or a naked-lip bootlicker has yet to be determined. But this bootlicker, at the stage it is now, is known as penialis minimalis, and that, translated from Latin, means he walks with baby dick. Now, I know what you're thinking, like a lot of these bootlickers have a baby dick. I get that. That makes them hard to identify. However, this bootlicker is easily identified from its call, which will be a bunch of nonsense about dating and how women need to submit to men. Safety precautions: if you do encounter this bootlicker in the wild, mace it. Mace it immediately.
Thank you for watching the video. If you found it informative, please like, share, and follow. My name is Sergeant Pants, and I'm on a mission to document these bootlickers. If you find any rare turds out in the wild, please tag them below so I can put them under the microscope. Remember, people, the bootlickers are out there, and you better know about it.